Thank you for joining this virtual session. Welcome to Mental Wellbeing in Today's Digital Age. My name is Isabella Davis. I'm from Nutrition Business Advisors. We're a consultancy and market research firm specializing in the natural products and dietary supplements industry, and we're based out of the USA. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you the drivers and the seriousness behind the mental well-being category. And I hope by the end of this presentation, you're as passionate about it as we are. So we're going to start by focusing on the generation who is most impacted by stress and anxiety right now. They are the generation really driving this trend in the category, but across all ages, stress and anxiety are really coming to the forefront. And there are some obvious reasons as to why, of course, the pandemic, but there are some other non-obvious reasons that we're going to talk about. And my goal is to really get you involved and get you inspired to be part of the solution, whether that's through commerce or just through making changes in your personal life that you can pass along to others. So this is just one survey, but really anywhere you go, you'll find that Gen Z reports worse mental health than millennials. And a lot of people say, well, they're more open-minded and there's less stigmatization around depression and anxiety and other mental health issues. And that is true, but they also have some physical reasons to be experiencing more mood issues. So we're going to talk about those. And this is why they report worse mental health on a consistent basis than the older generations. So this is Gen Z. They're about 12 to 25 years old right now. Born between 1997 and the early 2010. Right now, they make up over a quarter of the US population. They're the fastest growing generation. And like I said, they're really the ones setting the trend for this mood and mental health boom. 98% of them own a smartphone. And I couldn't find a stat on this, but they've really grown up with technology and had an iPhone or an iPad ever since they can remember. So their life sort of revolves around these devices. And this is the first generation to have that. And so take a pause to reflect on how that might impact their brain. So first of all, between work and school and entertainment, we look at screens more than anything else we look at throughout the day. In 2014, the average adult screen time was 4 hours. And now this is a stat from 2021, it's average 8.5 hours of screen time per day, and that's for adults. I think for me, it's probably more like 12 hours a day if I consider texting, entertainment, and work. It feels almost like my entire waking day is spent looking at a screen in some form or the other. And the first problem that arises with interacting with our electronic devices is that social media and even email can constitute a neural addiction. So there's a dopamine response when we look at our devices, whether we're getting some type of feedback from social media or we're getting the satisfaction of sending an email. And we know this to be true because you'll find yourself grabbing your phone and scrolling when you didn't even want to be doing that. And it's distracting you and pulling you away from the things that you want to be doing. So that is one of the things that causes an issue with technology. However, it is even a little deeper because it pulls you away from the present moment. And unlike drugs and alcohol, which at least tend to make you social, it isolates you. Another reason why the modern digital era may contribute to poor mental health is the sheer amount of information overload. So this is our phones constantly pinging at us, constantly looking at social media, having texts come in all the time, phones are ringing, messenger icons are going off. This is why when you ask people, how was your day? A lot of people these days will say, oh, it was so busy. I find myself doing it too. This morning, I grabbed my phone to look at something and then I put it down and was making my bed, and my brain is chattering about what I just saw. And the problem is that these electronic devices engage a part of our brain called the monkey mind. So the monkey mind is an innate part of our brain that has evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to keep us safe. It's meant to distinguish danger from things that we desire, and it's very loud and it's irrepressible. I love this book by Jennifer Shannon called Don't Feed the Monkey Mind, by the way. It's a great read if you'd like to learn more about this part of the brain. But there's sort of a cognitive cost to having all of this information. You know, some of it's facts, some of it's pseudo facts, some of it's gossip. And we're constantly trying to decide what to believe, what to ignore. And there's sort of a cost to that. So the monkey mind really gets the best of us as we are constantly trying to decide what to believe and what to keep in and out of our consciousness. Finally, blue light. This one's sort of an obvious one. It has a physical impact. It gives people headaches. It gives people eye strain, but it also severely impairs our sleep quality. So in the morning, we're supposed to see UV light. The sunlight tells our circadian rhythm that it's time to wake up, no more melatonin. And in the evening, we should be seeing no light, similar to UV. But unfortunately, we're looking at our cell phones. And if you see on the spectrum, that blue light that's emitted from our devices is close in wavelength to ultraviolet. So we're getting this sun signal before we go to bed, and it suppresses melatonin and it does impair our sleep quality. Unfortunately, sleep, as one of the biggest and best influencers and biohackers out there, Andrew Huberman, praises sleep is one of the best nootropics, the best emotional healers, the best trauma response. Having less quality sleep severely also impacts your ability to focus. For these three reasons that I just described, the dopamine endorphin addiction to social media, the monkey mind struggling to distinguish what is real danger, what to believe, and finally the sleep cycle being disrupted by excessive blue light, we have more anxiety than ever, with 19% of the population reporting anxiety, but there's probably more under the radar. So this is not the clinical definition of anxiety, but anxiety is a perceptual stress. It's a perceived stress that's not real, but it starts with negative thoughts and spirals and can spiral into a full-blown panic attack. It usually starts with, I have too much work to do. I can't sleep. Then it's, I can't relax. I feel out of control. I can't handle this. This is a nightmare. And people find themselves spiraling into anxiety during moments when you should be able to relax, when there's a quiet time between one task or the other, and the brain is chattering. Now, what's starting to happen is people are realizing that they can stop this panic spiral before it actually gets too deep, and we're starting to notice our thoughts. And people are actually buying products and engaging with services to mitigate anxiety. We know there's a market for it because Gen Z reports that stress and mood are the top two health concerns, above weight, above vision, above heart health, above fitness, above everything. Right now, it is stress and mood. And there's been an explosion of products, supplements, foods, beverages, apps, devices, and of course, CBD products and services that are addressing mental health. If we look over on the right, this is US supplement sales for supplements that address specifically mood and mental health. So, not nootropics, but actually supplements meant to address stress, anxiousness, depressive or low moods, things with ingredients that are meant to make you happier, make you more calm, and help you relax. We see in 2020, there was obviously a spike. And we know the pandemic contributed to some people's mental health in a significant way. Others loved lockdown. They loved the quietness of it, took away some of their responsibilities. But it did overall really increase everybody's awareness of mental health. So we saw that supplement growth number there in 2020 jump to 35%. Now, MBJ hasn't come out with the new condition-specific report for 2022, but these numbers here on the right, growth rate going forward, even in this projection, which I think is conservative, it's teetering between 10 to 15%. So imagine the market, what it is now, around 1.4 billion, is growing 10 to 15% year over year in the next 4 to 5 years, foreseeable future. So it's an amazing market to be in. Definitely a lucrative place to be, and lots of growth happening consistently in the next 3 to 5 years. However, it is a tricky market to sell into because, as we know, foods and supplements cannot address or mitigate diseases. So we cannot mention anxiety, cannot mention depression. Consumers are wanting to hear these claims, and we're up against big pharma and psychiatrists that are recommending prescriptions that can make these very strong claims. The regulatory body in the US, FTC, had 95% increase in warning letters that went out to companies that contain an anxiety claim. Even if the word anxiety was used in a social media post or a blog, they received a warning letter. So that number is really, really high in 2021 and will probably continue to be so. Shout out to Isa Wallstein. He's a great resource collecting the regulatory information and summarizing it. He does a lot of work in the CBD space as well. This was from his warning letter roundup in 2021. Little shout out there. The takeaway is that there are no quick fixes or hacks. We have a myriad of ways to address mental health. It's not just nutrition. It's going to be habits. It's going to be education. And the regulatory bodies will never allow consumers to be led to believe that taking a supplement or taking this one ingredient is going to be the magic cure for their mental health. I personally find GABA to be extremely helpful in moments of stress, and I find rhodiola to be helpful if I'd like to focus. I've heard a lot of marketing claims around ashwagandha, and for me personally, it doesn't do anything. So we also have to remember that everybody's different. And I think the most important takeaway is that if you're a company wanting to sell into this market, it's important not to forget the bigger picture. Your nutritional product is one of 5 very important things that the person needs to be doing to better their mental health. Read some books, take your supplements and eat healthy, exercise, get sunlight, and meditate or have some sort of mindfulness practice. So there's no one single magic cure, only many habits that are a part of this solution. And of course, getting yourself away from technology, connecting with the people, and connecting with nature around you is extremely important. Thank you so much for joining this virtual session. Once again, I'm Isabella Davis from Nutrition Business Advisors. We help companies size small niche markets in the supplements and natural products space. We also do strategic introductions in the US, and we would love to meet you on the show floor in Geneva. I'll be there and I'm doing a talk on personalized nutrition, which is another one of our big areas of research. So please say hi to me if you see me on the show floor in Geneva. And I hope that this session inspired you to take special note of all the offerings that the content will have around mental health and the products that you see on the show floor that are really going to make a difference in people's mental health. Thank you.